It's so nice how two stories we've been following for a vast majority of 2024 can finally, in an official capacity, work its way together. It's so nice when two certifiable morons can come together and find love. So that should give hope to everybody out there. But the Japanese consultant used by Ubisoft, okay, so we got Ubisoft in regards to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Okay, so here's the one party. And the New York Times to attack gamers over Assassin's Creed Shadows was a Sweet Baby Inc. employee. See, here we go. We already know the Sweet Baby Inc. worked with Ubisoft before. We could just never concretely tie them to Shadows, but now we can. Ain't that great? Oh, if this game wasn't going to fail to begin with, now there's even more reason to think that this is going to be the game that ends Ubisoft. Okay, 100%. Might not be immediate, but this will be the point in time where everybody goes, yep, all hope was abandoned here, because Star Wars Outlaws, okay, for as much as Star Wars was an established IP, you can point back to that and go, well, in recent history, there hasn't been a lot of W's for Star Wars, and, well, it was kind of a new endeavor for Ubisoft, so yeah, can't really chalk that failure up to them. They were probably imposed with a bunch of different stuff, yada, 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 complaints, excuses, and same with Skull and Bones and X-Defiant, at least for a little while, had a little bit of popularity, but this failure right here, oh, this one's homegrown, and it is all Ubisoft's fault. Delicious. The so-called Japanese consultant that Ubisoft and the New York Times used to attack gamers over Assassin's Creed Shadows turns out to be an employee of Sweet Baby Inc. Stop me if you've heard this one before. In the most recent hit piece run by the New York Times that appears to have been done in collaboration with Ubisoft, the outlet's Zachary Small cited a so-called Japanese consultant and translator who claimed the criticism of the game was being done by individuals in the West using translators, and that the Japanese people were not upset with how the game not only features Yasuke as a protagonist, but that he's depicted as a samurai. Hashimoto told the New York Times it was people in the West were upset with seeing Yasuke as a samurai. Small added that Hashimoto explained that many of negative online comments written in Japanese appeared to have been roughly translated from English. Oh, very dishonorable. The narrative that Hashimoto, Small, and Ubisoft are trying to spin was outrageous. To begin with, given that Small had written just 2 paragraphs ahead of a citation of Hashimoto, that Ubisoft attempted to assuage concerns that the game's authenticity, apologizing in a lengthy statement for promotional materials that said had bothered some Japanese audiences. No, it was actually Westerners parading around as the Japanese. That even for as out of touch as Ubisoft is, wouldn't you think that they would just have a modicum of self-awareness when they're making that statement, especially with what you're doing to Assassin's Creed knowingly? No? Okay. And Japan itself? No, don't worry about it. Small noted, the inclusion of Yasuke was a primary complaint, but observers also pointed to the presence of Chinese architecture and period inappropriate flags. Yeah. We're not aiming for for historical accuracy, depending on who you're asking. Sometimes we are, sometimes we aren't. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It changes with whatever we're trying to push at the moment. Controversy became so heated, a small right-wing political party in Japan formally asked the government to comment on what it considers historical inaccuracies. If it was just Western people, why was the Japanese political party requesting an investigation into the game, and why did Ubisoft issue a so-called apology to Japanese gamers? Yeah, exactly. But here we go. Nevertheless, it has been discovered that Hashimoto was an employee of Sweet Baby Inc. from February 2020 to April 2023, noted on his own LinkedIn profile. Freelance narrative design consultant, him, critic, games writer, cultural consultant. Provides consulting on various double and triple A titles under Sweet Baby Inc. Work includes on unannounced Square Enix, Ubisoft and Insomniac titles. Oh, really? Alongside researching and crafting characters for upcoming titles. Oh, yeah, just making this a fringe historical figure of Yasuke fit a more modern lens and have a more updated presence in the very not suitable for modern audience depiction of feudal Japan. Yeah, not only is Hashimoto a former employee of Sweet Baby Inc., he's now an activist journalist who articles are featured in Polygon, Silicon Era, Them, and multiple outlets owned by Gamers Group. Yeah, of course. Like, I'm not shocked by that at all, but what I am shocked by is the fact that the industry is starting to fight back. That's awesome. You love to see this stuff. Former Sweet Baby Inc. employee implies developers did not want to hire him after working for Kim Belair's company. Yo, shout out to those developers. Who are they? Because they deserve a round of applause for this one. Because this is the way. This is the way that we win. You have to drum these ideologues out of the business. No more backdoor deals. No more simpery to let these woke cretins in through the front door. Because here's the thing. If they were talented at what they do and they wanted to inject their personal and identity politics in, and they could do it creatively in ways that made it make sense. Like if you were going to have an Assassin's Creed tale with a black assassin in feudal Japan, and present the different challenges they would have of trying to fit in a homogenous society, like that could be interesting. But you didn't do that. You decided to lie about and co-opt history, and now you're facing a backlash because of it. But whenever you have these consultancy cretins, here's the thing. If it's not for the grift that they're running with, they're totally disposable. Their work speaks for itself. It's all ass. All the way down. It's either the worst aspect of the game or it ruins the game that it's working on. Okay, the worst aspect of the game, God of War Ragnarok with Angraboda. That's obviously what Sweet Baby Inc. worked on, because everything else makes sense in the wider narrative that they're talking about. In regards to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which they were very proud to tout how much work that they did on that one, the writing speaks for itself. The gameplay is abysmal. Don't get it twisted. It's just the narrative. That's just the icing on that turd cake. They provide the laxative icing to the diarrhea double fudge. A former Sweet Baby Inc. employee, Kazuma Hashimoto, revealed the developers did not want to hire him because he worked for the video game consultancy company. Oh, fantastic. Hashimoto was recently featured in an article written by Zachary Small, the New York Times, where he claimed that Japanese people were not upset about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah, we went over all that. We need to not retread that, and that's my face right there going, oh, really? The industry is starting to learn. In a recent Twitch stream discovered by YouTuber Smash JT, Hashimoto provided more details about the New York Times, saying a couple months ago, the Times actually got in touch with me to ask about Assassin's Creed, in which I was like, yeah, receptions, honestly, like kind of positive, and a lot of comments you'd see under videos were like straight up like Google Translate comments, which is pretty obvious. Comments you'd see under videos, but he was talking about the Twitter controversy. Oh, okay, interesting how you just want to conflate the two. I could see why you're dumb enough to work for Sweet Baby Inc. However, he then noted how annoyed the Japanese people are certain aspects of the game. And like people are like annoyed. Oh my god, he's such an idiot, bro. Like. I can see why you don't have a worthwhile job and why you're just a consultant. Well, actually, you're not a consultant even, because nobody's hiring you. With some of the inconsistencies and issues of Shadows, which is the buildings and stuff being wrong, or certain clothing and whatnot, or in fact that the art team basically stole a sign from a reenactment troupe in Japan. Yeah, it's just small stuff. They're just mostly racists. And that's actually pretty common, because when you're working with such a large team of artists, you're just naturally going to come across somebody who steals assets from an inappropriate time in history to the game that you're trying to make. That's common. Interesting. It's more like you're working with a team of people that speak multiple different languages, and whether or not they can communicate with each other is an issue. Oh no, okay, they're not thieves. There just exists a language barrier. That's strange. Okay. It's become part of game development. Right. Later in the stream, Hashimoto claimed he did not work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh, okay, so he just chills for them because he's such a great guy. He believes in the message. Okay. He said, I can say that because I didn't do any consultancy work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. The stuff I did with Sweet Baby Inc., I probably will never be able to talk about just because of the way the game development works. Right, because that's the grift. I don't want to expose it too much, so shut up. So yeah, it's really, really weird. I have a feeling that I'm going to get blamed for changes and decisions made on the game that I worked on that weren't even like that I didn't even know about, or wasn't even aware of, or not even part of. So I can't tell you what I did do, but I'm going to get blamed for the stuff that I didn't. Interesting. It's almost like you want to say that you're going to be a part of the good stuff, but not a part of the bad stuff, but not providing any of the receipts of the good stuff that you want to claim. Interesting. Because when you're in a consultancy, when you're a consultant, they just kind of pull you in and they ask you for like suggestions, and whether or not those suggestions are actually taken up is to the director. It's up to the director. People don't understand how much power a director and producer have in a studio. No, I think people recognize that a director pretty much has the final say when it comes to a project. I think that's fairly well understood in a studio, and whether or not they will facilitate those changes. Yeah, but I'm sure those paychecks cashed regardless. Later in the stream, Hashimoto revealed that developers did not want to hire him given he was a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee. Yes, there are definitely jobs that I've had where people, oh my Christ, man. It's probably because they heard you speak and decided, wow, this guy's so eloquent. I think he should probably be serving coffee and not working in the video game industry. People have seen like oh my god, I worked for Sweet Baby and it's been a year since I've worked with them, but yeah, don't worry, that mind rot runs incredibly deep. It's just like a contractual basis, so I was just like periodically for like a couple of years, people will literally be like, hey, are we gonna be harassed for hiring you? And I think that really sucks. Instead of like, we'll protect our employee, the employer, the potential persons giving you a contract will be more concerned about that than protecting their employees. Kind of messed up, am I right? No, it's kind of like they looked at your resume, seeing Sweet Baby Inc. is like, no thanks, we want to make money around here, not lose it because you have bad ideas that have failed everywhere you've ever gone. No, definitely. Just because they're all bigots that don't want to protect their employees, which you're a contractor. You're never employed by these companies. I can see why you weren't hired. You're not a very smart lad. But yes, interestingly, it appears to contradict Kim Beller's recent comments during an appearance on Black Girl Gamer's YouTube channel, where she said, yeah, don't worry, our services are in high demand. That's why we need to hide everything that we're doing, because we're just so loved by the entire industry. But I'm so glad with everything that has gone on this year. Like, it's been quite a tumultuous 2024 for the games industry, the AAA space, and especially exposing all of the current wave of consultancy groups, because they've been around for a long time. All of this grifting, that started back with Anita Sarkeesian a decade ago when all of this stuff really came to the forefront. Could have been going on before that, but that's when it really started to make headway. But this current group of consultants, okay, we're seeing all of these projects just get yeeted from the moment that they're announced, with everybody looking at the promotional material going, something off with that, and then we hear them speak and it goes, oh yeah, there's definitely something off with that. I'm looking directly at you, Forspoken and Black Girl Gamers. Okay, that goes without saying. The previously mentioned Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Okay, the writing, the atrocious writing speaks for itself, and then the gameplay being a boring slog provided a lot of cover for a bunch of journalists. But then when it comes to absolutely woke tripe like Dustborn, there's no other proper way to say that. Okay, it's a point-and-click adventure with some of the most insufferable leftist politics you are likely to ever see. The moniker of woke is perfectly applied there. But Ubisoft's leftist proclivities festoon all across Star Wars Outlaws, and what we're seeing now with Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's a new trailer that's out there. You notice the fact that there's no hip-hop beats over a feudal Japanese leitmotif. Oh yeah, don't worry guys, they're learning from their mistakes. You just have to look at the people working on the projects. You just have to see what's going on under the hood and realize that yeah, this game is screwed. Ubisoft is toast, but not as done as Sweet Baby Inc., because it's going to be a race to the bottom now to see who's ultimately going to go into bankruptcy first, Sweet Baby Inc. or Ubisoft. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.